Hello and welcome. My name is Randi Lee. Thank you for joining me for this yoga tutorial breakdown. I'm going to help workshop you through the ever elusive headstand. It'll be headstand on the forearms and not just on the head and the hands because that's a tripod, but we're going to be doing the forearm headstand. So bear with me as we workshop through a couple poses, but also keep in mind that I'm not holding the poses for as long as perhaps you should to warm up appropriately for this posture. So usually the headstand is done midway or almost towards the end of the class, so you're fully warmed up, but you're not completely exhausted. One of the things that I want you to keep in mind is that this can be very labor intensive for the neck. So when I cue you to press into your forearms and lift your shoulders away from the floor, that's imperative to help keep the stability of your neck and also cause little to no injury, if at all. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Be careful at home. I can't be there with you. So do whatever works best for you, something that you know feels right for your body, and maybe you don't get all the way to the end of the posture, or maybe you start to workshop your way towards that and eventually you may get there. So let's begin. One of the things that we need to be very sure about is shoulder flexibility in any kind of headstand or handstand. You shouldn't just power through it and try to throw your legs up into the air, because that's when you go up and over, no core stability, no core strength, no engagement, and that's when you get hurt. So we're going to start off with a couple of postures that will help build that. So we'll start here in dolphin, down dog. And the way that you do it is if you get an aerial shot from me, you'll see that my hands are firmly planted, my thumbs are angled towards each other, my index fingers are slightly angled in. You can also have your hands slightly like this. It really depends on how it's more comfortable for you. If you also notice, my arms are parallel. So they're not like this. My elbows are not out. My elbows are in. And the way that I get that kind of measurement is I lift my hands, reach for the opposite arm. This is how you personally know that your elbows are the correct distance. If they're out wider, your fingers won't wrap around, so you want to draw them in. The fingers need to wrap around. From here, cement your elbows where they are. And then bring your hands forward. So in dolphin, it's a forearm down dog. You're going to shift the weight forward, lift off of your heels, curl your toes under, and then lift your hips to the sky. So if you take a side angle from me right now, you'll notice that my head is still between my upper arms, just as if you are in down dog. My legs are still the same too, and so is my back. What's not the same are my arms. So what I'm going to do now is, if you notice, I can look forward between my hands and that brings my shoulders forward. But what I want to do is soften my heart back and allow my forehead to work towards the floor. So you're really getting a big shoulder opener here. We're going to hold this for a couple breaths at home, but I'm going to move on. So one way that you can also work on upper body strength and flexibility in the shoulders is dolphin push-ups. It's exactly what it sounds like. So you're going to bring the shoulders forward, bring your gaze forward, bring your chin and face towards the space between the hands, press back and up. Inhaling, come forward. Exhaling, come back. Inhaling forward. Exhale back. Softening down to the knees. Take an extended child's pose, full child's pose, or whatever feels good for you right now. So your shoulders will probably feel, you can stay there if you want, but your shoulders will probably feel a little bit exhausted. After that, roll them out. Release some shoulder tension. We're going to come back to all fours. And this time, we're going to work into our headstand with the forearms. So again, an aerial shot from above. You'll notice that here you can keep your arms parallel. We're not actually opening the shoulders just as much here. This posture, we're going to interlace the hands. So you'll notice that my hands are going to be interlaced, but they're going to be open. So this openness of the hands, you should be able to see the palms of your hands. And the elbows are going to be planted just as they were. So again, measure, stop and measure whenever you need to, except for when you're totally upside down. Then don't stop and measure. So you're going to have your hands wide open. And then you're going to put the crown of your head towards the floor and where your ponytail might be, if it's a high ponytail for you gals, or maybe even guys. It'll be right above the fingers. So before we get into that, actually something that I should mention. The crown of the head can be measured by placing the base of your palm to your forehead, wrapping your fingers up. That's where your middle finger lands, the crown of your head. That soft spot that you had when you were a baby. That's the part that you're putting to the floor. Your hands are going to go slightly behind that. Elbows in. So you have one forearm, two forearms, and head to balance on. So let's go back again. Measure your arms. Interlace your hands. Lower your head to the floor. Crown of the head, soft spot towards the floor. And then the back of your head's going to be cradled. So now what do? Curl the toes under. Side angle view from here. Lift your knees. Maybe this is as far as you go, but this is where you start to press into the forearms and shrug the shoulders or lift the shoulders away from the ears. So press the forearms in. You're working your low belly here. Keep lifting. Bring your feet closer. So you'll notice that the closer you bring your feet, the more weight you have in your head and your arms. Take a break whenever you need to. Reset the hands if you need to. Lift your hips back up. You're going to keep creeping in. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You should have your hips pretty much over your shoulders at this point. Then maybe you lift one leg. Maybe you put it down. So I urge you not to just jump into lifting the legs together. Lift one leg, active through the foot. Put it down. Maybe you lift one leg and then let the other join. Keep pressing into your arms. Lift shoulders away from the ears. From here, the option is to lift one leg. Keep active through the foot. And then perhaps the other. Keep active, keep active. Keep lengthening through the tailbone. Draw in those lower floating ribs. Engage belly. And slowly come down, bending one leg. Sometimes I feel like this is the harder part, to do it controlled. Bend the other. And then slowly lower down. That's when you child's pose. Let out a big sigh. Roll your head side to side. Stay here if you'd like for a few more minutes, or sit up nice and slow. So I hope that you enjoyed this little breakdown. I'll see you next time. Namaste.